What is up, everybody, to the nations worldwide? This is the Travel Couple Podcast, where we introduce you to a couple travelers who offer their advice on how you can travel the world together while earning money, living that digital nomad lifestyle. We're your hosts, Mike Pletz and
Natalie.
Tune in every Wednesday as we interview couples living a digital nomad lifestyle, traveling the world while earning an income, get relationship advice about being on the road with your significant other, and listen how others are going to struggle and they are thriving in their personal and business lives while traveling the world. This is your one-stop podcast for travel, relationship, and business goals. This week, we have something special to share with you. Beginning in April, we are starting a travel couple book club. Every other week, we will be featuring a book that follows the themes of our podcast, which are travel, relationships, and business. If you want to follow along, go to our website, www.travelcouplepodcast.com, and join the list. In today's episode, we talk with travel couple Matt and Michelle of One Way to Rome. They talk with us about quitting their jobs and beginning their Southeast Asian trip. So without further ado, here's our interview with Matt and Michelle. Today we are joined by Michelle and Matt of One Way to Rome. They are a couple from the US that got engaged, quit their jobs, and are now about to embark on a journey. You can follow them at onewaytorome.com. Hello, Michelle and Matt. Welcome to the show.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much. So I just want to get started by letting you guys tell a little bit about yourselves and what you did and what you plan to do.
Sure. So we were living up in Boston, Massachusetts. We were both working in digital marketing and both kind of said, this is a little bit boring. I'd want to kind of try something else. And I had been kind of watching, travel YouTube videos and listening to travel podcasts like pretty frequently. And I was like, people are doing this. I bet we could figure this out. So we talked about it a lot, and kind of finally just took the plunge, left our jobs, 2 months ago now. We're staying with Matt's parents, right now, and we're leaving to kind of start our travels in 2 days, which is crazy. And the first day, or the first place that we're going, is Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Very
and
nice.
I'm so excited.
That's awesome. So what kind of prompted you guys to take this plunge?
I think, as Michelle said, I think we were just getting to a point where we were, I don't know if like bored is the right word, but I think,
Maybe unsatisfied.
Yeah, it's like, it's kind of you get out of school and then you go right into working and then you just have to kind of survive, and like make money and pay off your college loans and pay off your car. And it just kind of snowballs. And, I'm just about 30 and I've been doing it for 7 years and I had never stopped.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I didn't even really think about traveling. I actually, when Michelle first was telling me about people that did this, I was like not having it.
I know.
I was not having it.
We had a lot
I
of
was
really
like,
funny
you
conversations.
can't do that. Where you get the money?
That's crazy.
That's
People are
crazy.
doing this.
For sure.
But I think after a while, just like not really being happy, at our current jobs, and I had moved like 6 times in the past couple years, and it just wasn't working. And then we got engaged, and it kind of just felt like the rational next step. And we were fortunate enough to like be able to have the opportunity to save money to be able to do something like this.
For sure. Nice. So then let's get into, how did you two meet?
Oh, we met cutely.
Well, so we met at a gaming convention in Boston called PAX.
Okay.
PAX East. So it's a big board game convention. I had been working with a company that...
How do you even describe that company?
It was basically an online indie game distributor. So we sold PC games from like independent video game developers.
Okay.
And we were actually up at this conference, and I was doing a panel on how to get into the gaming industry, because they have a bunch of like panels and stuff.
Yep.
And after the panel, Michelle just came up to me with her resume and asked if I had any advice on how she could like tweak it, or I don't even
No, I
remember.
was like, how do I get a job in
How do I
gaming?
get a job in gaming? And I thought it was incredible because like I didn't even really think I worked in gaming. I just like worked for a little website, you know.
Yeah.
But I felt like a big shot in that one.
I thought it was so cool. He had a
Yeah.
Yeah,
really cool haircut at the time too, and I was like, wow, this guy knows what he's doing.
yeah. So
And he didn't.
a week later, I just called her, and she was living up in Boston, or right outside of Boston. I was living in Delaware, and I just called her to see if she wanted to like help work on the website for free, kind of as like an intern.
Hmm.
Um,
Which I did.
which she did, and we started doing this. We started doing online interviews together
Oh,
with,
Yeah, which
you
is
awesome.
know,
actually kind of funny because this is kind of how our
this is
relationship
how our
started.
relationship
Yeah.
started. Yeah.
That's great. So then, where did you, can we get into the engagement story a little bit? Well, how did that go down?
Oh, that was nice too. So we were camping up in New Hampshire in the White Mountains. And well, I guess you would we had gone to Montana to Glacier National Park like maybe like a couple weeks before.
Hmm.
And I guess he wanted to do it there, but didn't get the ring in time or something.
Okay.
And so we were up on this trip that I planned, which was funny. So I like really didn't see it coming at all.
Right.
And we were camping, we were in our little tent and like reading for the night. And he just like pulled out the ring and asked me to marry him. And it was
Aw,
really cute.
that's awesome.
I thought it
Yeah.
was a joke. I don't know. It was really
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really heavily planned. I'll admit
It
to
was
it.
really cute
It was
though.
like, we were gonna go to this. It's like an organic farm. It was the coolest place
It was so
ever.
nice.
It was like
Mhm.
this hostile organic farm thing, and there was nobody there because it was October.
Yeah, so it's chilly.
And it was cold, and I just, it was like really snap movements. I had messed up with Montana because just out of sheer laziness.
Yeah.
Like typical guy fashion, just very lazy.
Exactly.
And just kind of wanted to, I couldn't take it anymore. So I figured that was like the perfect time to do it.
Gotcha. Very
Yeah.
nice. And okay, so let's just get into talking about travel from there. I'm going to ask you guys a two-word question, a very simple question, but with so many people, it's a complex response. So why travel?
That is a really good question. Let's see. For me, I don't know. Like, I started getting into travel when I studied abroad in Paris when I was in college,
Okay.
and it kind of like opened the door for me that I was like, this is not hard, and because when I was a kid, like we didn't travel that much. We kind of, we went to the beach and, rented like a little house down the Cape and things like that. But didn't really feel that accessible. But after I went on this trip, I was like, this is easy. Like,
Right.
why don't people do this? And I remember really distinctly when I was doing it, people would say to me, you have to live it up now. This is the only time you'll be able to do this. Like, you won't get an opportunity like this again. And I remember thinking, like, I'm going to create an opportunity to do this again. I don't want this to be it. Like, I want this to be forever.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where the inspiration came from for me.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like I didn't really travel a lot growing up. We went to, a couple places as a family, but I went to Florida. I grew up in New Jersey, and I went to Florida for college. And that like was just kind of getting away from home, so that wasn't really traveling. But as I got older, I started to work for that company, and I got to go all over the U.S. I got to go up to Boston and
Yeah.
Seattle and California. A couple friends moved to Texas, so I visited Texas, and then I moved to Mississippi.
Mhm.
So I got to go around the U.S. a lot, and it kind of got me very comfortable with traveling.
Right.
And that was really just not mostly for like a purpose, like a convention or visiting friends.
Yep.
But I think it was only it was only 2 years ago. Michelle was going to be in Barcelona for work, and we just planned a trip. And I went to Copenhagen in Denmark first by myself.
Mhm.
And that was like the craziest thing because I had never been to Europe and I had never stayed at a hostel. And, I
Really got thrown
traveling,
right
yeah,
into
like
it.
I don't know,
Yeah.
it was always hotels or Airbnbs for me and things
Right.
like that. And I think that kind of got me, I get it. I started to meet other travelers at the hostel and
Gotcha.
seeing how people did the lifestyle and people eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at and like bringing their own food and kind of surviving in the travel lifestyle. And I think it kind of clicked for me then that this could be something that I want to do more of.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I came from the same background where my family didn't really travel. So it's taking that first plunge it seems like such a big barrier, but once you go on that first trip, it kind of opens up your eyes and really inspires you to keep on going.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So where were you last? Where did you travel to last? Where are you right now? And where are you traveling to next?
Well, last we were just in Austin, Texas, visiting our friends. We're actually thinking that we're going to be moving down there after we're done with our kind of big, I don't even know what to call it, our big trip. I don't
Yeah.
know. And where are we now? We're in New Jersey, staying with Matt's parents,
Staying with parents.
saving our nickels.
Yeah.
And then our next trip is Osaka, Japan, and we get there on Sunday, or we leave on Sunday. We
Yeah.
don't get there till like Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's going to be terrible.
Is that because you have a couple layovers in there?
Yeah, so we are going from New Jersey to San Francisco. We have a 6-hour layover, and then from San Francisco to Honolulu, and then we have a 17-hour layover, and
Oh,
then
wow.
another 11 hours to Japan from there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are
But
you
it
going
was
to take
so
it?
cheap.
was
It was
very cheap.
super
Oh,
worth
is it?
it.
Are you going to
It's
take
like,
advantage of your time in Honolulu?
We have like it. I want to, but
Yeah.
we get there at night, and then our flight's at like noon the
Uh,
next day. So we have like a morning.
I see.
I
we
don't
do have a
really.
place. We got an Airbnb. It
Yeah.
kind of depends on the energy level, I think.
Yeah.
I'd be open to like checking out Pearl Harbor or something because I actually think our Airbnb is really close to it.
Yep.
So hopefully maybe we can jump out a little bit, but if we don't, we'll have to plan another trip there
For
because
sure.
I don't know, we might be really tired.
Yeah. Honolulu's beautiful for sure. You'll have to try to take advantage of that time there, even though you might be a little bit tired.
I know, yeah, I would love to.
So then, what prompted this Japan trip?
Well, when we were first talking, just kind of as friends, even.
Yeah, doing our interviews.
Yeah, doing our
online.
interviews together,
Yeah.
we would, it was pretty much exclusively like we would chat for like 15 minutes and then get the interview started.
Mhm.
Gotcha.
So during like those brief 15-minute conversations, we're both nerds. There's no secret that Japan is kind of like the nerd mecca.
Right.
So like I think we just got on this point about I've always wanted to go to Japan, and I always did, Michelle always did. And I think that was really the moment where I think we really realized like, oh, we should go to Japan together, even before we were dating or anything
Yeah,
like
we
that.
talked about it that day. And that was the turning point for me, I think, that I was like, oh, we need to date.
Yeah, I think
Right.
Japan is
Like,
just
we need to hang out. It's not an option
Yeah.
anymore.
Japan is just like it's got a for anybody that's into
Video
nerd culture,
games
video
and
games,
anime,
anime,
yeah.
anything like that. I got hooked on that kind of stuff when I was like 10 and 11, and I got
Same.
introduced to samurai movies when I was really young. So
Right.
the media, and I had a friend who is Japanese, and just like all that kind of stuff just got me kind of really interested in the culture of it.
Yeah.
And then as you get older, you actually have the opportunity to go there. I mean,
It's crazy. It's like being told that like Middle Earth is real and you can go there.
Yeah.
And you're like, what?
For sure.
I can go? It's really that cool?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Well, you're not too far away from New Zealand, which I heard has the Hobbitville there.
Oh,
well, it's definitely
I know.
on our want list for sure.
It's
Yeah.
high on the list.
Yeah. So then after Japan, or actually while you're in Japan, do you have any places that you are like dead set on going, and places within those cities that you want to definitely see?
So many.
Yeah.
So
Well,
many.
we're actually volunteering there.
Right.
So we're actually going to be volunteering in Okayama in a very small town with a family we found on Workaway,
Okay.
and that we're doing for at least a month.
Yeah,
Okay.
we might extend it.
We may extend it if they'll
We
let
might
us.
just ask them to adopt us.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we're going to be volunteering with a little family there at like a cultural center.
Mhm.
And helping people with their English and doing chores and cooking and that kind of stuff.
Gotcha.
And then we don't have anything planned right now. We were trying to find some other like hostel or something to work at, but it's tough to just lock everything in. People don't get back to you. It takes some time, so we're
Yep.
kind of just up in the air.
But so we're in Japan for a little over 2 months.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then from there, we're going to Thailand for a month where we're volunteering at a dog shelter on an
Nice.
island that is like a national reserve, which
Oh, okay.
just seems incredible. And then after that, we're going to Vietnam, and I don't know what we're going to do in
Yeah,
Vietnam yet.
that is the rest of the planning that needs to happen is we have our Vietnamese visas.
Yep.
We have no idea what we're doing.
Yeah. We're kind of purposely leaving some things open so
Yeah,
that like, if someone's like, oh, like come to my house and help me with blah blah blah, or
for
come
sure.
travel with me here, that you have the option to do that. That's kind of the idea of this whole trip, is that there is no end date and there is no plan. It's really
For
up in
sure.
the air.
Yeah.
Definitely. That's awesome. So, together, you guys have traveled a little bit. Um, have you traveled for an extended period of time like this?
No.
No. Well, I mean, Paris was kind of like this. Well, I was
We
in
were
Paris
going to
for like
school.
6 months.
Okay.
Yeah, so and I was going to school for a little while there. But I traveled a lot when I was there. And then no, we traveled quite a bit, but we always had an end date.
Yeah.
This is the first time we don't have an end date.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then, traveling together, what has been your most rewarding experience?
Rewarding? I don't know. I mean, I think like Montana holds.
A very special
Yeah,
place in our hearts.
Montana itself was incredible, but I think traveling together, being able to experience new things together and not just doing it alone,
Right.
and not doing it with a group of people either, which has its benefits, but even just doing it together, and kind of appreciating new things together is something that,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's just endlessly rewarding,
yeah,
I
we,
think.
we got to do horseback riding and go hiking and see things that both of us were equally kind of
Amazed.
amazed by it and
Yeah.
both wanted to do. I think that
Definitely.
was really,
I think it's really nice to kind of like be able to look over at your partner and like see the same like excitement and spark in their face that you're feeling. That's a
Right.
really cool experience of like, wow, this is really awesome, isn't it? And then they're really appreciating
yeah.
it too. I think
Definitely.
that like is really a special moment.
Yeah. So then, let's flip that a little bit. And what has been your most awkward, embarrassing, or hilarious travel experience?
We have separate ones for this.
Yeah.
I mean, which one do you want to share?
I'm gonna share. Okay, so I was in Iceland, maybe like a few months ago now with a friend, and so we had gotten there and we had traveled all night and we were pretty tired. So that first day we didn't really do too much. So my friend went to bed early. And we were in the south of Iceland, which I don't know if you've ever been there, but there's not a lot of people. There's not a lot of like civilization. It's basically like a farmhouse every like 10 miles or so, and then just like beautiful space landscape. So she had gone to bed early and I had gotten this awesome camera and I was like, wow, like the sky looks so beautiful. Like, let me try to take some long exposure photos. So I like left our little Airbnb. It was like kind of a bed and breakfast. And I like wandered out into this huge field alone. And I'm like playing with my camera, trying to like figure out the settings.
hmm
And all of a sudden I feel like this shove on my arm. And I'm like, what could this be?
Yeah.
Just terrified. And then I hear this really weird, like kind of snarling noise, and I'm like, I'm gonna die. This is it. I'm alone. I'm gonna be eaten by whatever this is. Dear God. And so I like fell over. I like fumbled for my phone with like the flashlight on it, and I like put the flashlight up, and it's a dog with a
Oh,
little like kerchief around his neck, and he just wanted to like hang out. But I was so relieved that it wasn't a wolf or something that I just
right.
like forgot about the photo and just like hung out with this dog, and I was like, I'm just
Nice.
gonna look at this guy with this dog instead.
That's a good one.
That's scary.
So, and then turning this another way, what has been the worst travel experience you've had?
You want to talk about the horse one?
Oh, that one's so sad. Yeah, I'll have to talk about that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
this isn't that bad, but I'm sure
At the time, it felt
at
like
the
the end
time
of the
it
world.
felt really just terrible.
Yep.
So we had went to Montana primarily because it's always been like a dream of mine to ride a horse in Montana. I don't know why.
Right.
I don't know. It
It's-
wasn't even specifically Montana, but we were like, where's a
Yeah.
cool place to ride horses?
Yeah.
Glacier Park
So
seems
and I
cool.
never get to ride horses before. Not like I don't have the opportunity. I just
Hadn't.
Montana seemed awesome. So Michelle booked this like awesome overnight horseback riding experience where you'd like horseback ride into the wilderness, you'd camp out there, and then you'd ride out. It was like a 2-day thing.
Yeah.
And we were so excited. I mean, I was so excited. We were both
Yeah.
so excited. And, I can be kind of annoying with like details.
Yeah.
Like to the point of like getting in trouble because I'm being such a jerk about like what time do we have to leave and we have to leave at this time, which I'm sure plenty of people can relate to. But I kind of like let Michelle kind of handle this. She handled the whole thing. We had the directions, probably should have checked a little bit more. Both of us, we should have been a little bit better.
So bad.
And we wake up, we drive. We're driving like 2 hours. We get out to where
The boonies.
The boonies. We had to stop at a place. There's no cell signal. We had to stop at a place to ask where we needed to go.
Yeah.
We keep going. We finally get there, and there's a bunch of horses, and there's no people. It looked like an abandoned campsite with just 30 horses at it and no people.
Oh, wow.
So it was very kind of confusing
And eerie.
And
It was really odd.
It was
Right.
weird. And we're trying to call. I somehow get on their Wi-Fi. And I call, and it turns out that we went to like 2.5 hours to the wrong horse camp.
Oh, no.
And the one that we had to go was like 10 minutes from where we were staying.
Oh, no.
And yeah, so it was just,
it was so sad.
It was just really stressful, I think.
Definitely.
I felt terrible.
Yeah, Michelle felt just like really bad for like
because I had hyped this up so hard. I was so excited. I was like, "All your dreams are gonna come true. I'm gonna make this happen."
And I was just frustrated because it was just a situation. It was just like not.
Mm-hmm.
It was just sad.
It was just sad.
For sure.
It turned out being okay.
They were so
nice. They got us on the next trip out.
Good.
So we just missed a couple hours of horseback riding. But at the time, it was a really stressful thing for our relationship.
Yeah.
And it was just
really
like really.
For sure.
Like we had to be on our like, okay.
We're like, let's talk through it.
This is just unfortunate. What did we learn, and how do we avoid this in the future?
Definitely.
We grew a lot, I would say.
Yeah, it ended up being okay. So I'm sure we'll have so many worse things that happen over the next 5 months traveling throughout Asia.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be so stressful.
And it sounds like you guys moved past that really well, and you went about it in like a nice systematic way. Like, where did this go wrong? How can we improve on this the next time? And when you're traveling, just getting past that and moving on so that you guys can continue to create positive memories together is so important.
Yeah, totally.
It all boiled down to just like honestly, like laziness on both our parts. Just being, yeah, we got this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we were really
we read the PDF they sent us.
Yeah.
Oh, there's actually 6 locations, and this is not the one you're supposed to be at. Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So, I mean, this transfers perfectly into our next segment, where we're going to talk about relationships and traveling. So, how do you feel traveling together has affected your relationship?
I mean, I think it's only been positive. Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of important to go through stressful stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And, like when you're hungry and you're jet lagged and things are going terrible and you're in the wrong location or you don't have the directions, I think it's important to kind of like come together and realize, you're on the same team, even though it feels like you're not at the time. Like you both want each other to have a good experience and you want to have a good experience. And like at the end of the day, like, you're doing it together. So I think it's just to take a step back and realize like, okay, we're going to figure this out. Like the worst case scenario is not that bad. Like it's going to be okay.
Yeah, I think it just makes you stronger. It really just breaks down to problem solving. When you're problem solving with, a partner and maybe that would different than just like a friend or something like that, you're problem solving and learning problem solving skills that you're going to have for the rest of your life, with that person. And of course there's downsides to it. You can get I'm allowed, like I can get frustrated with Michelle. She can get frustrated with me, and it's not going to, we're not going to not be friends for a couple
we're not
years.
gonna like not talk.
So there's definitely times where you can, you can get on each other. But like Michelle said, I think just having that awareness and learning how to get through difficult situations and knowing that you're not alone doing it. Because when you're alone, you have to do everything yourself. And if you mess up, you only have yourself to blame.
Right.
Whereas if you're with somebody else,
you let your partner down.
You can let yourself down and your partner down.
Yeah.
But you're also responsible for not just yourself. You're responsible for each other. And I think that
It's you build like a very strong bond that way, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, for
I
sure.
can see how it can be really stressful for certain people. For us, we've
It's
been
not
lucky enough.
stressful.
Yeah,
It's just
lucky enough to
you have
Yeah.
go
to figure it
through
out.
things for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure. Oh, that's definitely true. I mean, travel can definitely be stressful, and you will experience stress when traveling. And just knowing that you two, I think you said it best when you said, just knowing that the two of you are on the same team, like you
hmm
need to work together, basically. Yeah.
hmm
When planning a trip, who's going to take care of what? Do you guys have certain things that you like to take care of,
Matthew,
or?
would you like to answer that question?
Michelle handles everything. She
Michelle
pretty
does
much like
all of
she
it.
handles most, if not like 90% of like the research and the booking and the contacting of
Yeah,
people.
but that's just
Yep.
because I love it.
That's just because that's her thing. I kind of like let her do that.
Yep.
I think I'm still trying to figure out my. I mean, it's not that I don't do anything.
No, I
I
mean
kind
you're
of
not
like
like a
verify. Like I'm kind of like always thinking and just like you find all the
you're good to
options
like
and
bounce ideas off of.
yeah. So I think
Gotcha.
that's really when it comes to the actual legwork, I'm more of the ideas guy.
Hmm.
Right?
As
You're
you could
the
say,
idea guy.
I'm the
Yeah.
ideas
Cool,
guy.
cool, cool. Awesome. No,
No,
I love it. I really I like that he kind of backs off and lets me do it because I think it's a lot more fun to kind of say like, "Hey Matt, do you want to go scuba diving or do you want to go ride horses?" The
Yeah.
answer is ride horses, but but it's more fun to do it that way, and I love doing all the research and figure like problem solving, figuring out how you're going to get from point A to point B, and printing out all the documents and making sure you have everything. And but it is nice to kind of at the end of the day like bounce ideas off of him and be like, did I miss something? Do I have it all? And that's
Yes,
another benefit of doing it with your partner because they can question you and you're not like defensive about it.
for
yeah,
sure. Yeah.
that's right.
That's
Excellent.
what you're a guy, right?
So, what is the best destination that you two have been together that you think is the best for couples?
Oh, that's easy.
Oh, it was in Portugal.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
went to the
Yeah.
Algarve in Portugal. It's like the south coast. It
Hmm.
was so awesome. It was really romantic. Basically, we rented a car from Lisbon and drove south. But like in the Algarve, it's all these really beautiful beaches that are kind of like very secluded and they're very kind of cliffy.
Yep.
And there's tons of them. So it's really easy to kind of just like beach hop. So we were down there for like 3 or 4 days and we just beach hop the whole time. And there's like, beautiful like bars on the beach and we went at a really great time. We went kind of like on the shoulder season. So there wasn't a ton of people there yet, but it was like the weather was really nice.
Hmm.
Um, so definitely highly recommend shoulder season and the Algarve.
yeah,
Gotcha.
it was incredible.
So, yeah, a couple questions about that. And the first one is because we went to Lisbon actually,
hmm
and the debate was, do we rent a car or do we not rent a car? We ended up
Oh,
not renting a car,
mhm.
and I was kind of happy about that because I would have been the one driving. And just experiencing Lisbon with the amount of steep inclines throughout the city, how did that go for you guys?
Oh,
How was the drive from
Matt has
Lisbon?
got a great story for you.
Yeah.
So I actually totally forgot about during my awkward travel experiences. So the best thing was when we got to Lisbon
Hmm.
and we got the car from like basically the airport picked us up and they shuttled us over to like this back lot to pick up the car. We
Yes.
got the car, hopped on the freeway, crossed the bridge, and
Didn't even go into
we were
Lisbon.
just cruising. We were just going down to the coast.
Yep.
It looked I couldn't even tell that I was actually in Portugal. It looked
It was
like
easy.
every other generic on the way to the beach road.
Okay.
But on the way back, we took the long way, 3 hours back through the countryside
Yeah.
of Portugal. That was just
Also
incredible.
recommend that. It was beautiful.
Okay.
Getting back into Lisbon,
It was a nightmare.
well, it just happened to be the last day of some sort of festival.
Oh no.
It was absolute chaos.
Yeah.
And I was trying to get to our hostel.
Yeah,
Big mistake.
big mistake.
I was driving around these roads. I could barely fit the car in between
And we
them.
had a
Oh
tiny
no.
We had a tiny car, tiny manual car.
Yeah.
I was breaking on sweats. I was going up, down. What I couldn't tell was one ways. I was busting U-turns in the
Meanwhile,
middle of
there's
the
people just
road.
walking in the
People
street.
walking
Yeah.
around, staring at you.
Yeah.
I went up the last piece of the puzzle was I went up this road and I was convinced I was just gonna get out of the car. Like I was like, I'm just gonna leave the car. I can't do
It's
it.
horrible.
So I'm like, I get to the end. I get to the end at the top of this hill. There's a pole that comes out of the ground, so I can't go anywhere. Turn around. Sorry, there's a truck coming up behind me.
Oh no.
This is in
And
an alleyway. You
it
cannot turn
it
around.
was
Yeah.
awful. Thank God it was just the thing to stop me from like the shuttle coming by. Um, and I eventually just drove out, and we finally
Yeah, the
made our
pole
way.
went down. We
Yeah,
were like, what are we gonna do?
we just
We're gonna die here.
decided
I don't know.
we decided to just drive back to the car rental place a day early and take a cab to the hostel.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was terrible. I'm glad you didn't do it. It
yeah.
was not
Yes.
even remotely worth the stress.
And in
Yeah.
conclusion, like, car is good for Portugal. Car is not good for Lisbon.
Yeah.
Like in
Right.
the actual city is not good.
Yeah. So yeah, I think that came down to what we were going to do with our trip, and when we decided not to rent a car, we stayed around the Lisbon area, did day trips. So I mean that's great advice. It's because it's such like a hilly city, and there's so many narrow passageways,
So
like you
narrow.
said, and you're driving manual. So I
Yeah.
mean those three things just don't go too well together. Yeah.
It's terrible.
So then, do you two have any more advice that you want to share with couple travelers out there?
I mean, just don't get frustrated.
I mean, I would say accept that you're gonna get
Yeah,
frustrated.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
I would also say like things will go wrong and it's okay. Like you figure it out. Like you will get lost, you will be confused, you will not speak the language, and you'll have to figure it out. But it's all gonna be okay. I think it's important to like I said, like you're on the same team. You have to kind of take a step back and say like, listen, like I need to just take a deep breath and realize that like you are lost right now, but like you're gonna find your way.
Definitely. Yeah. Excellent advice, guys. So, in this last segment, I want to talk about you guys, your journey, a little bit about how you guys are volunteering, and to just start that off, let's talk a little bit about One Way to Rome. First
Mhm.
off, how did that name come about?
There's not really a good story with that. I have to be honest with you.
Yeah.
It was I had been watching all these, travel vloggers and reading all the travel blogs and listening to the podcast, and I was so excited and really into it, and was convinced that like we can do this too. Like it can't be that hard, right?
Hmm.
We can figure it out. So one day I just like set up my website and I set up our YouTube channel and our Instagram, and I was brainstorming names and I came up with that one and asked Matt if he liked it, and he said, "Sounds great."
Yeah.
And that's how it got started. I was just kind of like, I feel like I can do this, and I'm just gonna start.
Gotcha. Yeah, just diving right into it is really the best way to go about it too.
Mhm.
So, what's the plan with One Way to Rome? Are you guys going to continuously document your journey while you're traveling?
Yeah.
What can we expect from it?
Yeah, so that's the plan, is to document. We're gonna be vlogging, I think. We have a couple vlogs out already, just to kind of start getting some practice with it. So our trip to Austin is actually all on our YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But we just thought it would be like such a cool way to, share with our family and friends, because so many people were so excited about it when we were like, we're quitting our
Mhm.
jobs, we're just gonna go travel, and people were like, wow, that's awesome. Like, I want to be part of it. So we thought that this would be a really great way to share it with those people.
Hmm.
So yeah, so we are writing on our blog too. So it's things like packing lists and how to pack for something like this, and
Yeah.
how to get ready for a really long plane ride, and how to go about budgeting for your food and your travel, and what does that look like. So the blog will basically be mostly tips, and then the vlog is what we're up to, and then our Instagram is just my travel photography.
And we're new to this. I mean, Michelle's the one who watches the travel videos incessantly and
Yeah,
like follows all these
constantly.
people on Instagram. Like I don't do that stuff. It's just not. I like them. I like them when I
Mhm.
watch them with her, but I'm not. I'm still so new to it
Right.
that I think everybody. A lot of people are doing it now, and we're just we don't really know.
Yeah,
We don't really know how to
we
do
don't
it.
know what we're doing.
We know how to do it. We know, we work on the internet where we know marketing and all
Yep.
that stuff. But when it comes down to it, I think I don't know what kind of plan it is for sustaining travel or anything like that. But I can tell you what really got me thinking about it, because I will admit that when we were like, oh, let's travel, we were debating, oh, should we blog? Should we make videos? And I
Mhm.
at first was kind of like, nah, I don't. I don't know if that's for me. I don't know if I
Well, we
want
were
to
scared it
do
was
it.
going to take away from the trip.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
But
That's a big fear for travelers too. But yeah, ultimately, yeah, I think in the long term, you really find out that it's really benefits your trip.
It really adds to
yeah.
it.
Yeah, definitely, and especially being able to look back on things when you're all done too.
Hmm.
And nobody does. I mean, not a lot of people do this. I was shocked how many people at my old job and my friends were so excited. They were so excited for me and for us to go do this journey, which I thought was a very simple decision. It was
Yeah.
like I have enough money in the bank and I kind of not happy in my job. Like let's go travel for a couple months. But some people thought it was the craziest thing in the world.
Yeah.
So I
Definitely.
think sharing that experience with them in any way,
And showing that it's not as hard
and
as it
showing it's not that as hard
seems.
as it seems. You know, you
Yeah.
don't have. We're in a position where we're taking a time off because we both happen to leave our jobs. Like that's not what you have to do in order to travel the world and have a good time. I think that's for me more of what my goal is to just kind of document, as you were saying, and share the experience with my friends and family. And then if other people enjoy that content too, and inspire other people that inspired us to do this, I think
So
that's awesome.
rewarding.
That's really rewarding. I mean, I would love for that to happen.
For sure. So, with the blog, with the vlogs, with your photography going on Instagram, are you guys designating who's going to take care of what, or do you guys already know how this is going to go down?
Matthew?
I mean, we're still figuring it out. I mean, Michelle is getting into video editing and she has the camera and she pretty much does all of that right now. I
Yeah.
think it may change when we're actually on the road.
I expect it to.
Most of our
Yeah.
trips have been very short and kind of just playing around. I think once we're in very new places where we want to make videos and produce content and show off really interesting, fun things, I think we are going to have to split the load at some point.
Mhm.
Like I have tons of video editing experience, but Michelle just getting into it. So for her, it's this
It's
new
great
thing and she's
practice,
learning
yeah.
how to do it, and that's
Right.
awesome. But if I needed to do that, that's fine too. I
Yeah.
don't really know anything about cameras. Michelle is learning about cameras. So I think we're gonna have to get into that flow.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be fun to figure it out
Yeah,
together.
Definitely.
Yeah.
we're total amateurs. We have no idea what we're doing,
That's
and I
kind of a
love
big
it.
reason we
It's
wanted
very
to
exciting.
come on a podcast like this, is to kind of say like, listen, like we don't know what we're doing. We're just figuring it out and we're just starting.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
you can do it too if you want to.
Yeah.
If you want to make travel a priority in your life, all you have to do is make it a priority.
And yeah, that's the big thing about this podcast is there's so many people and couples out there that say, and I hear this so often, is I want to travel, I want to do that,
Mhm.
I just can't.
Yeah.
But they
But you
can.
can.
They definitely can. And it's just a mindset that you need to put yourself in there, and you need to make travel a priority, like you guys are doing with your lives.
Yep.
So, coming from the digital marketer experience, is there anything that you're going to take from that experience and apply it to your blog or vlog?
I think it just inherently will.
Yeah, I think we're so wired for digital marketing, both of us. Matt was doing Facebook ads and I did search marketing.
Okay.
But understanding how people engage with content, I think if you're coming from a space of like understanding like what people are doing and how they're looking at things,
Yeah.
it kind of makes it easier to understand your audience a little bit more and know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
Because I mean, really, like with our both of our like our blog and our vlog, we're talking to people like us that don't know what they're doing and are freaked out and don't know where to start. And we want to basically say like, this is how you start and make it really easy and digestible for those people.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it just inherently marketing is one of those things specifically for people doing projects like podcasts or vlogs is, there's no secret formula. It's really just an understanding of how people interact with content. And I don't know personally if that will translate into some skill of like getting people to be interested in our travel content. But it's once you have a marketing mindset, you can't get rid of it. It's not possible.
Gotcha.
I've been personally doing it my entire adult life, and as much as I don't want to do it for a career, that doesn't mean that I don't apply it to any other like side project or anything that I'm doing. So I think all those just inherent skills that we've learned from side projects and our professional experience really will apply to this in some way.
It felt like a very natural transition.
Definitely, for sure. And marketing's such a big thing about creating content, because
Mhm.
creating content is you're just going to be throwing things online, and
You're
you
like, do
won't get
people
any.
like this?
Yeah, you won't know, right?
Right.
So yeah, you guys talked a bit about identifying your audience. Is there any tip that you want to give our listeners who are trying or planning on taking this plunge like you guys are doing, about how they can identify that audience?
I think it's important to kind of understand who you are as an audience.
Yeah.
A lot of the content that I'm making is content that I love seeing. So, like Matt was saying, like I watch travel vlogs all the time, and I listen to podcasts all the time, and I follow my Instagram is full of travel Instagrammers. So, kind of looking at what other people are doing and trying to say like, okay, why do I like this?
Yeah.
And then applying it to your own content, I think is probably the most valuable thing that you can do as someone who's starting out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I look, I watch these travel videos that Michelle watches, and it looks like a lot of these people have it all together. Like they must have been born with the skills to make great videos and edit and market and make money and do all this other kind of stuff. And that's just not true. And I can say that any of them would say, "Oh my God, when we first started doing this, I didn't know who my audience was." And I think, like as Michelle said, just think about who you are and what kind of content you like to produce,
Hmm.
and make content for people that are like you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's really the best thing that you can do, and specifically when the travel space. I mean,
It's also the most genuine. Like you don't want to go and try to be somebody else, but really kind of looking at your own life and saying, like, okay, what do I have to offer? And like, why is what I'm doing interesting?
Yeah.
Who am I talking to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And something you said there really stuck out to me, and that's create the content that you would like, that you
Hmm.
would enjoy. Because really, this is a long-term strategy, and
Hmm.
you're going to get bored of it if it's not something you like, right?
Yeah. If you
You'll,
don't
you'll
like it,
get
you're not
burnt
gonna
out.
do it.
Yeah, you'll get burnt out well before you start to make this a lifestyle. So first and foremost, make the content that you want to make. That
Hmm.
I couldn't agree more with that. Let's transition into volunteering now. So, can we talk a little bit about how this volunteering opportunity came in Japan?
Sure. So we're using a service called Workaway. The website is just workaway.info.
Okay.
It's like a pairing service. So basically hosts go online and say, I am running an organic farm. I need help with farming and house maintenance. Some other ones might be, I am running a school or a charitable organization and I need volunteers to help teach English, or I need help with childcare.
Hmm.
So they kind of say, this is what I need. And you go on there and say, these are the skills I have to offer. So when we were kind of thinking about traveling long term, budgeting was one of the biggest things that we talked about, which
Yep.
it will be if you're going to be trying to
yeah,
do something like this.
Hmm.
Um, so we were kind of like, how can we save money and still get the most enriching experience? And volunteering seemed like such a natural progression because, you can stay with these people and not pay anything, but you're helping them. So you don't feel like you're mooching.
Yep.
But
hmm
you're offering a service and you're getting kind of a look at what real life is like in these places, which is really like, I think what most people want.
Definitely.
Like the touristy stuff is cool and really fun. But if you were gonna go be a tourist for, a few months to a year, like you're gonna run out of money if
Hmm.
you're not
yeah.
working.
If you don't, I mean, I think I remember I remember where it was when I just did a Google search. To be honest with you, I think we were just like, because I came from the perspective of being real hardline, like we don't have enough money, we can't do it.
Yep.
And I didn't know enough about what other people were doing because the only thing I saw was people making YouTube videos
Hmm.
and blogging. And I was like, well, what if you don't do that? You've
Right.
got it.
Or
People are,
you're just starting
yeah,
and
or
you're not
you're
making an
starting,
income from
right? You're
that.
not making
Yep.
YouTube money off of just starting.
Hmm.
So I think I just did Google search like volunteer internationally, and Workaway came up. And that immediately was like, oh my God, I get it. I get now that when you go to the hostels and there's people working there and they look like they don't live there, how do they get there?
Yeah.
They're
Yep.
usually volunteering through some partner program.
Yep.
And that almost got the entire trip rolling,
Yeah,
I
that was a big
think.
turning point for it because I was
Yeah.
like,
Gotcha.
we can make this work. And he was like, it's impossible. And then one Google search
It's
and he
like, oh
came
wait,
around.
we can go to Japan for and get our room and board covered for 30 days. Oh my
For
God.
sure.
Oh
Like
my
for
God.
volunteering my time.
I speak English.
Are you kidding? Like you want my
I can do
time?
that.
Sure, I've got all the time in the world.
For sure.
So I think that's
That was a turning
and
point.
now it's just like that's what I want to do. I haven't even done it yet, and I think that being a tourist and not having anything to do for 4 or 5 months, that's not only financially irresponsible in my part for me,
Mm.
but also just like kind of boring. I mean, you have to constantly figure out what to do, um,
There's a lot of
a
planning.
lot of planning,
Yeah.
It's not
and
just say don't be a tourist. It's just
oh,
if it's
100%.
you're gonna get burnt out, I think.
Yeah,
We
like
would. I know that we would.
I know I would. For
Yeah.
me, I
Yep.
would definitely do that. So adding volunteering in the mix just kind of breaks up the time, and you're actually getting to live there. You're getting
Hmm.
to live in these places, and even
And
if it's
cook with a
only for a
family
week,
and,
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
just incredible.
You definitely get a sense of that lifestyle for sure.
Mhm.
So, how did this opportunity present itself? Was it the first thing that you saw and you applied?
Actually, it was the first thing
It
that
was
we
the first,
saw.
Yeah.
it was those
It's the
highest
highly rated.
rated
Yeah.
Okay.
for Japan. I
Yep.
pretty sure, and
The family is so cute.
we
They've got
just
this
fell in love
super
with it.
cute picture of like them sitting like in a beautiful traditional Japanese house, and we were like, please, can we come? Can we please volunteer with
Yeah.
you? And I sent them an email like, I've always wanted to come to Japan, and your house is so traditional, and I would love to help like teach English, and like the reviews are so great for this place. We were so excited, and a lot of it is review based. I would say like if you're interested in doing like a volunteering opportunity,
Yeah.
read the reviews because some of them are great and some of them are not. So you really kind of have to get into it and see like, okay, like, do I want to work in a field for 5 hours a day? Like,
Hmm.
is my body capable of doing something like that? Like, do I have carpentry skills? If
Right.
no, then maybe it's not the best opportunity for you. If you
Mhm.
love cooking, maybe it does make sense for you. So it
Mhm.
really kind of is like you need to see what other people have said about it to kind of gauge if it's going to be a good opportunity for you.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So then, when you sent that email, what was the response to that? Did you go through like an interview process or anything?
No, we just kind of chatted. We chatted back and forth. They were super sweet, and I was, I remember I was like, I'm so excited to potentially volunteer with you guys. The reviews are so amazing, and they sent me back an email, and they were like, oh, please don't get too excited. Like people are just very kind, and I was like, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
So
That's
yeah, there
awesome.
was back and forth, but it was a lot smoother than I thought. I was actually shocked how simple it was of a process. But again, you provide all your information to them, and I think
Hmm.
we'll know more once we do it. But it sounds like this is pretty much how it works, and you get reviewed and you have a reputation, and um, I think it's absolutely incredible. I mean, we probably wouldn't be even taking this trip
If we hadn't
if we hadn't
figured out,
gotten with them. I
oh, we can
mean,
For
volunteer.
sure.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. So then, closing this off, do you guys have any advice you want to share with any couples out there that want to make travel a part of their lifestyle?
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, you can go ahead.
I think if you want to do it as a couple, and I would say the kind of the process that I went through was figure out what's stopping you, and if it's money or if it's your career or family or anything like that, figure out if just write those things down and figure out how to solve those problems for you and figure out what type of travel you want to do. I know for me, it was 100% the money.
Hmm.
There was nothing else about it. And it sounds so dumb now thinking about it, how like letting money kind of ruin my life. But I think that, you know,
It's a big barrier.
millennials right now
Yeah.
specifically, I mean, it's very stressful financially, and that can really turn you away from pursuing your dreams. And I think what we did was when we decided, hey, we want to travel the world, yeah, not next month, but a year from now, we stopped going out to lunch.
Hmm.
We started
Hmm.
eating a bit like cheaper. We stopped, going out to the bar. And I mean, it eventually got us to a point where I I was personally comfortable
Hmm.
saying, you know what, we can do this. But it was a one step at a time. It wasn't, hey, we're quitting our jobs and traveling the world. It was
Yeah,
like,
it definitely
hey,
was not
we
overnight.
can travel the world now. When should we do it? March sounds like a good time.
Hmm.
And that was, I don't know, 6 months ago we were planning.
Oh
Almost
yeah.
a year ago. It was,
We made the decision, I think, a
yeah,
year ago, and we
Yep.
really started like buckling down and saving maybe
yeah.
like 6 months
I,
ago.
I would think about that and think about really practically how you're going to do it.
Yeah.
How much money do you need?
And what do you want to
much-
get out of
What do
it?
you want to get out of it? Where do you want to go? Can you do any work on the road? Do you want to volunteer? Do you want to just travel like a tourist? I mean, think about the real logistics of what you want to do, and then make it work. I think if not now, in a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, I think you can do it. This wasn't a decision we made a month ago. It was a slow going for at least a year, a year.
And I will say too, once you make that decision to make it a priority, every step you take towards traveling feels really good. So even when, you don't like your job and, you're not going to be traveling for maybe 6 months and you just want to go right now and it sucks and you're like, oh, I just want to go. Not buying a sandwich for lunch feels good. And not like going shopping when all of your friends are. It feels good because you're saying, I'm choosing this experience. I'm choosing my future over this thing. And it feels good.
Definitely. That's excellent advice, guys. And really making travel a priority and saving towards that goal. It's definitely it's intensely gratifying to finally get to that moment where in 3 days you guys will be leaving.
I know.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
we got a lot of packing to do.
Yeah, you guys, it must feel great right now. That's so awesome. So there you have it, Michelle and Matt of One Way to Rome sharing their travel stories with you today on the To the Nations Worldwide Travel Couple podcast. I want to say a special thank you to our guests. Thanks so much for coming, guys, on the show.
Thank you for having us. This
so
was really
happy
fun.
to have you have us. Yeah, thank you again.
We are really excited to follow along with your journey. It sounds like an awesome next step for you too. So for our audience, where should they check you out? What's the best way to see your vlogs, watch your videos, everything that you're going to be doing online?
Sure. So our handle everywhere is One Way to Rome. And Rome is not like Rome the place, but Rome like someone who roams.
Yeah.
It's the same on everything. Instagram, YouTube, our website. It's all the same, all coordinated. I would say probably our vlogs are the most entertaining part of what we're doing right now. I think they're really fun, and we're going to be making a video this week actually about, how did we pack for this and what did that look like? And then we'll be hitting the road.
Thank you to all of our listeners out there to the nations worldwide. We cannot express our appreciation enough. Visit us at travelcouplepodcast.com/11 for this particular episode's show notes. Leave a comment on the page. We'll be sure to get back to you. If you'd be so kind, please subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review. This will help us know how we are doing in serving you. This is Mike Pletz and
Natalie.
hoping you have a wonderful adventure out there to the nations worldwide.